What's up, fellas? So, we are back. Another video. Messing with the car once again because it isn't fast. So, as you've seen in the last Catch the Creek, made some changes. Car didn't like the converter, still wasn't fast, yada yada. So, now we are trying to figure out what is going on. And I have theories and I have ideas, but you know, you can just never ever put a finger on anything because there's just nothing obvious that says anything's wrong. So I got to thinking, maybe it's compression related, or maybe the engine or the turbo application just doesn't like ported heads. So I was like, well, let's get some new or just another stock set of 799s ready and see if it makes a difference. I mean, why not? You know, we're here to learn something. I talked with Jason on the phone quite a bit, and he's like, you know, theoretically they should work, but you never really know till you put them on a car. So that's what we're gonna try. But upon taking it apart, which I am doing right now, I noticed, it's maybe tough to see there, you can see that one exhaust port is unbelievably clean. And I was like, well, maybe it popped a gasket, but I was looking at all the data and it's only seen over 30 pounds like 2 or 3 times this year. I mean, it's been close, but you know, I was running the thing at 33, 34 last year and it's only seen 30, 32 a couple times. I was like, maybe when it hit boost cut, it popped the gasket, but I looked at that data log, it had no coolant pressure. So then we come over here to the other side. 2 cylinders. Sorry, dropped my phone, of course. So we come over here. We have 2 cylinders that are extremely clean. And all the other ones are black, like they've had fuel going through them. So I doubt it blew both head gaskets because after the day after Catch the Creek, I put like 50 miles on it, or 60 miles even. Driving around, it ran absolutely fantastic. It didn't break up at all. It didn't run hot. It was like you were driving a regular car. It was perfect. So the fact that something, I can't even put, you know, this is just the most bizarre situation ever. I can't put a finger on what's wrong with it. I did check the push rod length. It was correct. About almost a half a turn, which is roughly 40 to 35 thousandths of preload, which is what a Johnson 2116 SLR lifter requires. So that was good. All the plugs look normal. I have them here. I mean, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, they've been in there for quite a while, but this is the one that looks like it's never fired. You can see it's got some stuff on the tip, but like, they all look basically the same. So, well, we're gonna pull this head off though and find out. Got the wrench on it right now and we'll see what happens. So as you see, I was taking the car apart. That video I took about a couple weeks ago when I was tearing it down, and I had an old set of 799s that actually came off of the other motor that I blew up when I got it when it was a truck pullout. So I never used them because the heads that were on that car when I was racing it were ones that I had just gotten. I got them in a deal somehow, and so I just had them laying around. They had springs in them. They were literally, I had them cleaned up. They were absolutely ready to go. So I was like, well, I don't have to spend any money. I'll just use these heads. So now coming forward, you know, I was thinking maybe it was the heads that didn't like something in the port or something along those lines. So as I told you, I talked with Jason, and so I ripped the ported heads off and brought them up to him and brought the stock ones up just to have him do basically exactly what he did to that original set that was on here when I went to Florida. So brought them to him. Big old shout out to Jason. You guys need to check him out if you're looking for some cylinder head work. He is the best in the business. He had me done 2 weeks. Not that, you know, he did a whole lot to them. I mean, these were a pretty simple set, but you know, people like that who can treat you like that, they're the best. So I'll kind of just show you on this head, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the ideas that he had, which I'm super interested to hear. So let me get my phone turned around and I'll show you what we were talking about. So here is the head that I had him clean up. So as you see, he decked it. Did a little valve job on it, got everything sealed up nice. I cleaned these ones up myself, actually. I work at Indy Specialties, and we do a lot of Polaris engine stuff, and so we have all the tools to clean everything up. So as you can see, I didn't get too crazy with them. I didn't want to ruin any of the valve seat area, or of course the valve, all this stuff on this side. So I was like, we'll just get them good enough. So what we were talking about, I wish this didn't have valves in it, but we were looking at the ported head, and you can see a nice trail of fuel coming in off of the intake port right on through here on the opposite side of this. That is on the short end of your port. And so what that means is the fuel is moving through the port how it's supposed to. That's how it's supposed to move. So that was, encouraging that the head was working. Obviously, I'd like to see the car go fast, but we don't really know what's going on. So that's why we're going to throw these bad boys on just for a little test. So you got my springs on there, got all my retainers and all that stuff is all good. He did check combustion chamber on these compared to all the other ones. The original set of 799s were 64.2. These were 64.5, and the other ones I think were 64.3. So all right in the same area, and nothing really wrong there. He cut these ones right to 64. It was about 6 thousandths he took off. And so then, just to see what I had going on here, I brought this piston up to TDC and checked it to see just how much play there was, on off the deck to here, and it was basically flush. So there is really no more room for compression there. So we should be about the exact same compression as we were last year. And so then another cool thing that he did for me was this is a software that he has that you can set in all your cam stuff, intake and exhaust, your engine, basically everything that the motor does. And then he was talking about the pinch, which would be the narrowest port, or the narrowest part of your port, which would be like right in here on these. And then your throat, which would be the widest. And so what we figured out was on the stock heads, the pinch was 2.187. And so right in here around this 300, 311 is where you're looking for your highest usable port velocity. And so 2.187, 2.156 to 2.235, you're right in that ballpark. And then with the throat down here, you got 2.574 versus 2.544. So still right in the ballpark of the perfect range with either of them. So then what we got to talking about, the ported heads have a pretty dang smooth finish up in here, where you can see these just a raw cast finish. And so typically on an EFI situation, it doesn't really care that much. But it was just an idea, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to put these rough boys back on and see what goes on. And that's about it for that stuff. But if you guys need any head work done, Jason is the best. He had some pretty cool stuff in there. Had a good talk with him, and he treats me super well. So great to have these back, and I will get them on ASAP. But I have a story to tell you first. So today, we go to put her back together. Everything's going good. Got this head on. And then I had this head on. And I was doing the old ARP torque sequence. And I'll show you here what happened. This is the thread from the block. And it is no longer in the block. There's the stud. Couldn't tighten the bolt down. So that one was back here. It does happen on these aluminum blocks. You can see the one without the stud in it. Extremely brutal. Really, really not a fun time. Definitely frustrating because I was going to just, go for a ride in the car today and do some things like that. But obviously I couldn't really do any of that stuff. So that just really sucked. Real kick in the nuts, actually. So obviously couldn't do any of that. Pulled it off, and what I'm gonna do sounds super sketchy, but it is what it is. So to get a time cert to fix that, the kit is $700, which is pretty crazy. yeah, you can fix it like that, but an M11 by 2, which is the thread of these, is very close to a 7/16. And at work, we just happen to have 7/16 time certs. So I ordered a head stud. It's actually not a head stud. It is an alternator bolt. That's what they say it is, but it's a 7/16 diameter. It's all the same stuff. 200,000 PSI of tensile strength. These are 22,600 or 260,000, and those are 200,000. So real close to the ones that are in it. So we're gonna put a 7/16 time cert in it, and I'll run a different stud. It's the same length as these ones, same top thread, so I can use the same nut and washer and everything, but that's what we're gonna do. The thing costs $13. The time certs are relatively cheap, so might as well give her a shot. I'll do that later this week, hopefully, when the stud comes in, and then put her back on and go for it. So if it blows the head gasket, whatever, I guess. I mean, the car's really been fighting me all year long, so it would just be another minor inconvenience. And then I'd have to take the head off again. Which, if it blew the head, I'm sure it would be purely because of the block itself. And then, you know, we'll just do something else. I'll take this motor out and build a different one, or run 1/2-inch studs. I mean, there's numerous different things that I can do with it after that. So who knows? I haven't really made a decision yet. I just want the car to be fast again. And that's what really brings me on to build another motor. But I don't know if that's a fantastic choice at the moment, since I can't even keep one of these damn things alive. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to just let this sit here. And once we get all the parts, I'll fix her up and hopefully put it back together. I did torque the other one all the way down, and everything was all good there. So that was really good. Like I said, I don't know why that one did. I've heard of it happening before. Maybe just no real rhyme or reason, but it happened, and it definitely sucks. So big inconvenience and a little bit of work to fix, and it'll be kind of ghetto, but it really, theoretically, it should work. So we're gonna give her a shot and see just what happens. One other thing to point out when you're putting your heads on, if you're using a 799, or maybe even other ones, I don't really know. I forgot that some of them are like this, but this little thing here will actually have a plug in it. It is just pressed in, so you can pound it out with a just a punch or something. That's what I did. I had to actually take that head off to get that, but maybe some of your Steamport kits don't, but these are the Motion Raceworks ones, and they have a little stud that goes in there. So with that port in there, that doesn't really do anything. So I pounded them out, and now we're all good. I think this is one of them right here. So there's one of them. The other one, I think I threw away. Oh, the other one's right here. And there's the other one. So don't forget to do that, because that gets to be a pain in the ass if you already have the heads on. Luckily, I only had one. So took that bad boy off. Luckily, no stripped out block of bolts after retorquing it, but on to fix the next one. In other interesting car news, I got myself a new intake manifold. Check that bad boy out. It is also a 16 injector high ram. So that'll be pretty awesome. This one is a double rail setup, which is more along the lines of what I wanted to do with the car. So this one you can see here, 2 rails, just like so. I would like to, when I put a good motor in it, have a twin fuel system set up, kind of like what Cletus does, because I really do want to do the drag and drive stuff, and I will definitely be going back to do it again. I just have to get the car to a point where I really like it on the street, and it really does everything perfectly on the street. And it does pretty good now. Just for some of the highway cruises and stuff, I just don't think it's gonna cool good enough with the rear mount deal. And I really do like radial tire racing, so I would like to have it mostly set up for that. I feel like to go fast on a radial, it's a lot easier with a little bit of nose weight. And then if you're gonna run no prep without a radiator and with a pretty simple trunk floor, and if I can get an air-to-air intercooler on it, it's a lot easier to add weight back here. So the old rear mount just may go bye-bye. And I kind of have a little other setup that I'm thinking I might try to do, but I'll let you guys know more about that stuff if that actually happens and I can make that deal work out. But pretty pumped about this. It's a pretty nice piece. As you can see, it did a very nice job on the welding, whoever made this. And yeah, I really like it. So I was gonna put it on now, but I kind of don't really feel like taking that one apart since it's all good and everything's ready to go. And you know, fumbling around with injectors and all this stuff, I feel like that's a better plan to do before I send them out to be cleaned this winter. So probably won't do anything with this at this very moment, but I will be putting it on soon. So, and if you're interested in my other one, it's over here. I will be flipping lids, so you can have that black lid, because this is my baby right here. This is an expensive piece and I waited a long time for it. But if you're interested in this intake, it is basically the same thing, just a single rail setup. 8A in the front, 10A in the back. You can flip them around, so it can be 8A in the back, 10 in the front if you wanted to. But they hold 2 injectors just like so. It's got a little slotted bracket. See if you can see this back here right there. And so I actually milled it through a little bit so you have some adjustability if you're using a different height injector. It's a pretty solid intake. I like it. With the 8 on one side, it's a little trickier to put the injectors in. It's just kind of difficult. But once you get them in there, usually pretty good. You just got to be careful pinching O-rings and stuff like that, because 8 on one rail is a lot to put on. But yeah, other than that, nothing wrong with the intake. It has been just cleaned up on the bottoms just to kind of match a port. It is a cathedral port unit. So if you're looking for that, $1,200 I think is what I'll charge for it. So let me know. Come with the black top and then the rails and all the stuff for it. So let me know on that. Probably won't sell it until the season's over if I can get the car out again. If I just battle with it too much and I never make it out again, it probably won't go back on. So if you're interested, just let me know. Other than that, that's about all I got for you. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support. I have a lot of messages and people wondering, you know, what's going on and if I've figured anything out yet, and I really haven't. So I was hoping to be up and running this weekend, but I'm not. Not the end of the world, but I was just kind of excited to go for a drive. So definitely sucks what happens with that, but hopefully I can get it all fixed up and not really have any issues. But thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.